More me. Yeah, this is the
that's good.
level of audio that you require from me today.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. I didn't expect there to be an Evanescence reference.
I don't know what you mean. This is a goddamn original piece. More me up. More me inside. I'll tell you what, this is not a laughing matter. I am incensed today.
Yeah. You fired up.
I'm going to say this in all earnestness, okay? This rotten, woe-begotten world does not deserve good old Morbin time.
No.
Morbius.
Can I put a kibosh on referencing the meme? Because I was like tired of it like a day after it started.
Of course.
So, yeah.
And I had no context for it, right? Because I had not seen...
Because you hadn't seen it, yeah.
I had not seen Morbius until a couple months ago.
Can we, before we start all this, just like backtrack? Welcome to the low ceiling.
No, we were not going to backtrack because now I had a whole thing going, okay?
I'm going to cut it out and I'm going to put in a thing of you saying that 9/11 was an inside job and vaccines don't work.
Whoa,
yeah.
whoa.
Yeah, I'm going to stitch you right up.
Damn it, you morbed me.
Welcome to the low ceiling. I'm John.
I'm Pri.
Today we're talking about the classic Chilean director Daniel Espinosa.
Hey, he's Swedish, no?
Oh yeah,
he's
right.
Chilean Swede.
He's of Chilean descent.
Yeah.
But he is Swedish. He directed 2022's hit film Morbius.
Damn right.
Which we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm. Cannot believe the reception this film received. An unjust, brutally low 16% critical. Rotten Tomato?
Can I start with something? Because I have a kind of a diatribe to go on.
Go on.
I agree with you, but it's going to take me a long time to explain why. Do you mind if I explain why?
Far away.
So, I don't think this movie is good. However, I don't think it's terrible.
Let me stop you right there. This movie's great.
It's not good. However, here's the thing that always surprises me. I've seen, as you know, not a superhero fan. I talk about it all the time. I'm a real pick-me girl about it. But so every time someone's like, you should watch Guardians of the Galaxy, you should try out this. Oh, Black Panther is nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
Oh, Black Adam is terrible. Ant-Man Quantumopedia is also terrible. All these kinds of things. So, the Spider-Man series, you should try that out. That one's good.
Yeah.
Actually, they're all the same.
Yeah.
And I find this movie as good and bad as all the other ones,
Thank
to be
you.
perfectly frank.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
I understand, it's the thing that always like weirds me out is like when I watch a critically acclaimed Marvel or Sony superhero movie, I'm just like, okay. And then when I watch a really bad one, I was like, wait, that was as good as that one. They're just as good as each other.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is from someone who doesn't see too many superhero films, right?
No,
so you don't have a horse in the game, if you will.
And I haven't even saddled up my horse to ride.
No.
As they say in the Old West. But the thing is that every time and the reason is because every time I dip my horse in the waters of the MCU or the superhero universe, I'm always like, that's my exact reaction to every other movie I've ever seen. And it's always just like somewhere between that was garbage to that was okay. Like I would never watch that again.
You wouldn't watch Morbius again?
No, but I wouldn't watch Black Panther again.
Well, that's different. That's also Black Panther.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's not different. It's all the same. Like I just don't. It's
I have to disagree with you in that it's all the same as any other MCU film. This movie is arguably way different compared to the aesthetic or like plot or those kind of references they have between MCU films, the kind of humor that MCU films share. I find that none of that is in this one, and maybe that is the reason why it tanked, because fans went in hoping for a Spider-Man villain, and what they got was
Well,
Jared Leto.
this might be controversial to say, though. Like, okay, so they do exist in the same universe, right? Let me draw a comparison here.
Yes.
This movie, in my opinion, this movie and Venom are just as good as each other.
Same.
I don't think that. I mean, I don't, and it's weird to be like, I don't know what that means. Does that mean Venom is bad, or does that mean Morbius is good? Like, I didn't think
they're
Venom,
both camp.
They're both whatever.
Yeah.
And then like, the one that always like really bothers me is I waited for years of having to hear people be like, yeah, but the Tom Holland Spider-Mans, man, and they are fucking shit. They suck so bad. They're almost, the first one is unwatchable. I think it's probably worse than Morbius in my opinion.
The Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Homecoming. Yeah.
Damn. Oh, funny you bring that up. And I know that this movie is not for your type of audience, right? That doesn't really indulge.
No, this 75-year-old man who's like, oh, kids these days and they're
children.
Superheroes. they're Iron Manning on my lawn.
I'll tell you what, my point of contention is not that those movies or MCU films are, revered, that Spider-Man versus Venom versus what have you are considered to be good films versus Morbius is not, when they are near goddamn identical.
That's exactly kind of what I'm getting at. Is I always take like so getting back to your 16% Rotten Tomatoes critical review, when it comes to these movies, I always feel like I'm like, I got to take that with a grain of salt a little bit, because I don't really think I trust it.
No.
And what's more is regular old fucking viewers and fans, you really can't, I don't think, trust their opinion either, to be honest. Like,
the audience score for this though was 71%.
Yeah, but the audience score is pumped up by the fact that there was like a massive meme around this movie for forever.
But maybe to that point, if they were like, oh, what the hell, why the hell is this movie getting so memed? And then you go see it and you realize that it's getting that undue hate, maybe that warrants a rise from that 16%. Like, finally the public kind of saves cinema again from 16.
I guess so. Like, this movie would be totally forgettable if it hadn't been turned into a meme, right?
I don't know if it would, right?
But I do think like the critical reception of it was particularly harsh in a way that I'm just like, I mean, fine. But if you looked at some, although Miles Surrey on The Ringer compared it to the 10 plagues of Egypt from the Bible, which I thought was an apt description. But like, if you kind of like, I'm sure, and we talked about reviewers on the Beau is Afraid episode, I'm sure if you took two reviewers and we were like, what do you think of Morbius and what do you think of some other piece of shit? And they were like, oh, this was amazing. It's like, well, I don't know if I can really take that seriously.
No.
And there's also, in my opinion, there's lots of ulterior motives for a reviewer to not like this movie. For one, it's coming at the tail end of like a really bad time for superhero movies in general. It was delayed for 4 years, so we had to see trailers. I saw trailers for this before you and me met.
Fucking Christ, yeah.
And also, I mean, primed for me, Jared Leto is in it.
Oscar winner,
nobody
Jared Leto.
truly likes Jared Leto, so yeah.
But like, Jared Leto was already Joker before this happened. Jared Leto was already House of Gucci'ing it up before Morbius came out.
Same, like, not the same year.
Not before.
Year before, yeah.
And so you can expect this like extreme Jared Letoing the hardest he's ever done, and then you see Morbius where he's very restrained.
He's pretty like,
he's a serious guy.
Yeah, he's pretty like reined in. Yeah.
And in all these interviews, like, yeah, I method acted the shit out of that. Like, he didn't even go to the bathroom without getting off of his wheelchair or whatever. He committed to that role. I see you rolling your eyes over there. He committed to it hard.
Drank blood and.
Well, you got to stay in character, obviously. But he's as close as you get to a living vampire. Man's is 51. Look at him. He looks younger than blood-sucking tech billionaire vampires we have today.
Yeah.
So I think he was the right choice for this film, given the direction that he was given to not do the most.
In as much as Jared Leto can be the right choice for anything, which is not much, to be perfectly frank. Yeah. And
like, I don't want to keep adding fuel to the whole morbophobe argument where people just come in say shit just to say shit about the movie, maybe from having seen it, maybe not.
So
but you can't discredit all the animation, all the CG, all the, like, even the plot, no matter how predictable it is, still drives the film forward in a way that any MCU superhero whatever villain movie does.
well, there is an issue. There's an issue with the plot, which we'll get to. But before we get to that, though, this comes back to like conversations we always have, which is like the genesis of the podcast is like just dismissing a film out of hand, and it is kind of like I wouldn't choose to do this movie on this podcast, but we're equal partners in this venture.
I'm so passionate about
and
this
you're a fan of it, and you got to watch it without. If I was a stupid fucking meme head on Reddit or whatever, I would be. It is like annoying to just be like, well, we want to have like an interesting conversation about a movie that doesn't fucking work for a lot of people. Like,
Totally.
it doesn't. But it does not mean that it's you're just kind of you have to just close the book on it forever.
Yeah,
that's what's interesting about it. And what I wanted to ask you is. To be fair, like this is like I've never introduced a bad movie on this podcast ever. I've never stood up for say a movie starring Nicolas Cage that we did recently. I've never been like, oh, Josh Hartnett's actually good in this film. So what is having as me with the epitome of taste?
Yeah.
What is your defense of a movie that is generally considered to be bad?
Oh, I got a laundry list. Well,
let's fucking get into it.
Let's do it. Okay, so number one, and I know we're comparing scores first, so I do want to say 16% for Morbius. Guess what? Dude, Where's My Car got?
31.
19. Like, what I'm saying is this movie really objectively worse than Dude, Where's My Car?
Yes.
Like, what? I will not have any slander. Like, I'm kind of thinking back to how a vampire film does not have to be some original film, right? It's got to have some blood, some babes, some, bats, and it covers the bases. It doesn't have to reinvent the wheel with, like, sword fighting or what have you. There is a timing issue with Morbius, and this is going to sound like I'm a lawyer for the Morbius team, but if this movie had come out 4 years ago before Spider-Man Homecoming, if it had come out in context with, I don't know, Blade, for instance. Speaking of Blade, at the end of that 1998 film Blade, there is a scene of Wesley Snipes on the roof, and he looks across, and guess who he sees?
Jared Leto.
Close. Morbius. From across, so there is like he's there in the universe. He's there as a concept that people have forgotten about, and now that you introduce him as Jared Leto, they're not gonna, even if there's any like hint of nostalgia for a character like this, it's not gonna translate because it's just gotten butchered by memes or
and also like it's just at the tail end of all this exhaustion, and not to mention like between the first I remember very distinctly seeing a trailer for this film in theaters and being like, that looks really bad before the pandemic. Like we're disregarding the fact that a just like traumatizing event for many people happened between and
3 years ago. And
it's
now,
it's kind of highfalutin to be like, and really this worldwide trauma is the reason Morbius sucks. It always sucked, right? Like it always was not good, but it went through this like crucible to be released, and then when it comes out, it just kind of like launches horizontally and falls directly to earth nose down. Like it just is, Which like did it really fucking suck more than the cartoon insanity that is Fast and Furious? No,
did
that's
it suck more than Eternals?
And
like
it's like it's the wrong movie coming out in a time which was very cynical about like Marvel movies, because I had to sit through a decade of people being like, this is the greatest time for film ever because of Captain America when he throws his shield and Thor catches it with his hammer. It's just the greatest thing. And it's like, no, they're all the same fucking shit, right?
Yeah.
And then it comes, and then Black Widow, people are like, and then all of these things, and then all of a sudden like this movie comes out which is like, to some people, not yourself, comically bad.
Yeah.
And people are just like, oh, and then the other cynical thing when Sony like re-released it in theaters, you were just like, sorry, is Sony run by a fucking algorithm? Like,
yeah,
what,
I mean,
like,
they definitely
does I remember saying this to a friend of mine. I might have even been yourself, a friend of mine, you.
Me, your friend.
I might have just been like, does the company just run where like a green light comes on and they're just like, now do a thing with like,
they just missed all
yeah.
the internet mentions. They thought it was like, oh, they're talking about us. No, they're talking at you. They're laughing at you.
Yeah.
But
which I thought was like, it's like a funny thing in a very cynical way though. Cause I'm like, yeah, but I want like people to like movies. I want companies to release good movies.
Yeah.
And I don't want to like fault any of the creators. Like they all tried, but everything about the movie is a misfire. Like it's just not
100%.
You know, yeah.
Oh my God.
There's like very few, in my opinion, very few aspects of it. But you can see, you know, like we've said it before, that like making movies is really fucking hard. And having to stare at Jared Leto's stupid fucking face for like 2 months while you make them is probably even harder.
And then as the film goes on, you don't even get to see his face so much because it's transformed into an incredible vampire with all the teeth and you know.
Do you really like the CGI? I think the CGI
I love
is
the
like
CGI.
I think it's like video game level. It's not
and that's
very
okay,
good. Yeah.
Right? And that's okay because when we're seeing modern day CG on these new Marvel films, we take it at face value. When you see a cool like dust effect scene of when he takes to air and there's like flying, when there's this echolocation where his ear transforms.
I like that
like
stuff.
there's all these cool bits and they don't have to keep doing it all the time.
Yeah.
And they don't, right? They pulled back a little bit with that kind of animation. But even him just kind of realizing his powers and all the motivations are just right. Like that character is not hard to believe. He's a guy, Morbius is a guy suffering from a rare blood disorder. So he's on borrowed time. So he's got to find a cure. He gets that cure through illegal means. It's funded by his friend. And then even though he doesn't want to share it with his friend who shares the same blood disorder, he's like, because that's a moral dilemma. Because I am now a vampire that can't sustain on blood alone. I don't want you to also go around killing people to have to do that. So there's a good message there. And there's like good... There's a possibility,
but there's this like this central moral dilemma that they never truly tackle. That's the issue, is that
because it's PG-13.
But
no?
here is do you want me to tell you the big issue with this movie? In my opinion, the first like step in the chain of like just misfires.
Yeah,
this movie is just the first act. It doesn't have the arc of a movie that you want, and this is not, in my opinion. This is not Morbius's fault. This is the fault of this superhero culture where they're just like, one movie is a waste of time. You need to have at least 3. And so this movie feels like it's setting up a possible trilogy. And so the first movie feels like this entire setup, which is very telling because the title drop is at the end of the film.
Right.
And it does feel like when I watched it, I was like, that movie just felt like all first act, all set up, nothing, no real arc, no real resolution.
True.
You know, and it just, that's so annoying.
But that's what you got to do with comic films because there's like 60 novels written by this guy.
But inherently, people who like movies, which is like everyone except Republicans, is like, you inherently know how stories are meant to kind of flow.
Yeah.
Some people, you know, people are viewers, like some people can't write them or anything like that. But most people inherently know how a story is supposed to go. And it gets subconsciously frustrating when you're like, wait, that's not really how a story works.
What do you mean? Like, it's pretty linear. I don't think they do any twists and turns.
But it doesn't
just
tell a complete story. That's what I mean.
What's missing, do you think?
Jared Leto's character development. Like, he doesn't really sufficiently struggle with the issue. And the thing that it's like Matt Smith, when he turns into the vampire, the other thing too, what is Matt Smith's? Why does he have to be a psychopath? Why does he have to be a violent killer?
Because he wants to be cured and he's not given the cure. He is funding this lab and this research with his money for Morbius.
But then he is cured.
Well, by theft. Like, Morbius doesn't share it with him.
So then why does he have to, like, why can't him and his best friend sit down and hash it out?
That's exactly it, right? Because now that's the moral dilemma, that you are going to keep killing real people to suck their real blood, but I have artificial blood that does the same, only doesn't last as long. So Lucian is coming from a place of greed where he wants to be feeling that way, strong and able to walk all the time. You're telling me you wouldn't do it if you could kind of get your way around it?
No, I don't think that's the thing. I don't think that I would.
Right.
I don't. The turn of like Matt Smith to honestly a philanthropist billionaire to just this psychotic killer is just kind of like, okay. And I understand, like, they very poorly hint at it early in the film when he hits the kid.
Yeah.
But also, it's like, it just doesn't land. It really doesn't land for me.
Yeah.
Because you're like, so this guy went from like a place of pretty heavy altruism and lived with this debilitating disease, and he hasn't matured as a human to the point. It's like, you're a smart guy. Like, why would,
Yeah, but then that's inherently his, well, quote unquote, flaw as a character, right? Or he's not taking the higher road, because there's one person like Morbius who literally rejected a Nobel Prize in one scene because he's like, well, I'm going to keep experimenting on myself until I have the final cure or whatever. So he's Mr. High and Mighty on his, ivory tower. Meanwhile, Milo is a more relatable kind of human, in the way that if he finds a way out of this misery, there's no way, even if he was feeling philanthropic and like altruistic about his ultimate life choices, that he would just take it laying down, knowing farewell that there's a cure like 2 feet away from him.
I know, but he gets the cure.
He gets the cure.
Like, that's the issue I'm having, is like, he does get it eventually.
Yeah, but it's not permanent. Do you know what I mean? Like, this transgenic vampirism is something that is temporary.
Yeah.
They have to keep consuming blood. Artificial blood will not give you that power for longer than few hours.
I know, but what I'm saying is, like, it's not sufficiently motivating to make him into a complete psychopath. That's what I'm saying. I get all of these, like, these small reasons why he might do these things, or why he might.
But he's got a taste of freedom. He's walked for the first time.
Yeah, but
in like
freedom
30 years.
Freedom doesn't have to be, I get to just fucking kill everyone, whoever I want, and just suck their blood and do whatever I like, and go to a bar and maybe get in a fight with someone. Like, that, all of that is not. That's not the definition of freedom.
I know what you mean. Like, in that their mind is not entirely, or it's not explained that their mind is not entirely under their control anymore. Like how Venom as a character can be swayed by the parasite, or like when you get bit by a radioactive spider or whatever, some of those motivations can make you act a little differently than who you were before you transformed.
Right, but there's like all the, when he does suck the blood and has his vampirism like under control.
Yeah,
he is in control of his faculties, and that's what Morbius is he's like, oh, I have to drink the blood so I don't turn into this, so I don't kill people, right?
Right.
Which is which is a normal response. Whereas with Matt Smith, he's just kind of like, I don't care what happens to me. It's like, dude, what the fuck?
I'm telling you, like, I would cave so fast. That's why I relate so hard. Because if I see that I can get a croissant in 5 minutes from now versus waiting 30 minutes, I would cave and get it in 5. Okay? And that's just sugar.
By killing someone?
If I get it in 5 minutes. All I'm saying is immediate gratification is powerful.
I think we've just found out that you're a sociopath. And I'm the Michael Morbius of this episode.
I'm the Parisian from this day forward.
Let's get into the plot.
We'll get into the plot just in 1 second, okay? I got a preamble to get through. So, Matt Smith carried House of Dragon, whatever. He was great in The Crown. He is enough of a force to be in this film, even though he plays the predictable angry guy, villain, creepy face.
I don't think he carried House of Dragon at all. I thought he was terrible in it. All the guy wants to do is kill people and have sex with his niece, which is just not enough for me.
True.
Yeah.
Doesn't
he want more?
I mean, doesn't he want Morbius?
Okay. Go on. Yeah, so Matt Smith. Yeah.
He's great. He's great in The Crown.
Generally, he's a very good actor.
Prince Philip,
yeah.
he kills it.
Yeah.
And then he's bringing that same kind of Prince Philip energy into this movie too, where like
the dancing scene I thought was like from The Crown, like lifted directly from The Crown.
Just straight up. You can't fault the guy's charisma, because when he's on screen, I don't think for me it's like, all right, this has my attention for the next however long he's on screen for now.
That's an interesting thing. Can I respond to that?
Yeah.
Because I wrote that Jared Leto's complete lack of charm is like, it really frustrates me.
Yeah.
Like the guy cannot act with others.
No.
Like he would. I know that lots of people like really love Jared Leto, and he just does not work for me. And there's like him and what's the actress's name from Triple Frontier? The hottie, his Martina.
Oh, Bancroft. Adria something. We'll call her Bancroft.
Adria Arjona,
Sure.
right? Arjona. Their chemistry is just like there's the first scene when you see them chatting with each other.
Yeah.
It's just like so stilted and
I
weird.
thought they were siblings.
I didn't, but like
I thought they were not meant to be romantic.
Like she would like say something kind of charming. She's a very beautiful woman. She's a good actress too. She says something kind of charming, and then Jared Leto like, and this might be the fault of the editing, but he takes like way like half a second too long to say something back, and it completely doesn't match the energy of anything she says at all. And it is kind of like
he's a tired man.
And it also it kind of is like, I feel like he's acting and she isn't there.
Yeah.
And you can kind of tell.
Yeah.
Which is, sometimes that's how films work,
Right.
Some people gotta act beside a tennis ball, and you get that. But yeah. Anyway.
Not that either of them have any great screen presence or anything. Both of them, I feel like it's fine if you replace them with whoever else. Just all Matt Smiths. Matt Smith in a wig. Matt Smith in a wheelchair.
Matt Smith is at least bringing some energy to the screen,
Hell yeah.
Everyone else kind of like, yeah.
Yeah. But let's dive into plot, because I think I got some thoughts. So it opens, of course, with Michael Morbius as a 10-year-old in a hospital in Greece. Is that right?
Typical, yeah.
And he welcomes his new bunkmate, who goes by the name Lucian. But he immediately starts calling him Milo, because whoever was there before was Milo, and everybody who uses that bed ends up dying anyway. So Morbius is like, I'm not going to bother learning
really
names.
Cool thing to tell. Like, he's like, fucking everyone dies beside me anyway. So
I just
called
called
him the same shit.
That's it. And then over the years, though, they have this kind of kinship.
They don't die.
They don't die. They don't die. They have a new stepdad, this like adoptive figure.
Although, can I just point out that Milo almost does die, and the nurses are just kind of like, I don't care. Like this hospital.
Wait, when?
He collapses in this Greek hospital, and there's like the alarm going off. Then Michael fixes the machine, right? Which for some reason, Jared Harris is like, "You're a genius, lad," and sends him to New York to a special school of how to fix shit with a ballpoint pen.
That's it.
But like.
He's a prodigy.
Like just these alarms going off for these kids who it's like they could die at any moment, and there's no nurses around whatsoever. No. Yeah,
because Morbius has a lot of willpower. Okay, he's got a lot of mental strength that's gotten him through the years. Yeah, which I think is obvious from the start that Lucian/Milo does not. Kind of setting him up to be like a guy who would succumb to stealing fruit from a tree that's forbidden.
Yeah.
So.
He's Morbius is also like a genius, which like every superhero, has a genius level and intellect.
Of course.
Which is
that's
kind
why
of
he's a favorite son.
Really annoying character trope about superheroes that I hate. Yeah.
But babe, he's in a wheelchair.
I know.
He's looking sickly.
He's got every disadvantage.
He's got all the disadvantages. Even
the little Greek boys keep making fun of him.
There you go. Even when he gets his vampire powers later, they're only temporary.
Yeah.
You think he's not going to be able to stay the way he's staying? Anyway.
Some real Greekophobe shit in this. I will not stand for it. I think I bet this movie did poorly in Greece.
Oh, damn it. Now I got to go look it up. Their adoptive dad figure or hospital director, what you call him, is played by Jared Harris.
Yeah.
Just
one
HBO's
of the fucking best actors ever.
Their favorite nuclear scientist of all television.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
I mean, one of the great living character actors.
Totally.
Possibly one of my favorite actors.
And
just on screen,
wasted in this movie. Just
yeah.
Underutilized.
Yeah.
Poor Jared Harris has like 3 lines.
He's in 2 scenes.
Yeah.
He's third build. Like
it's why bother,
bizarre,
right?
Yeah.
Why not just have some guy? But I guess that's the drawing power for an audience.
Yeah,
strange, man.
Honestly, is the audience who's gonna hit up Morbius is like, I mean, I loved him in Mad Men. You know, like no, like Jared Harris is he's such a fucking kind of a cinephile. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not like a super most people who've seen Morbius are gonna be like, oh, that guy. You know, he's
Totally.
that guy a bit, but he is a fucking wonderful actor.
He's
yes.
beautiful. And
I just want to go on a little Jared
Yeah.
Harris rant here.
Tell me.
The very, very first, think back to like 2016, very first episode of The Crown. He plays the king, right? And his performance in that episode is unbelievable. He is so fucking good. There's a scene where all these people sing to him or whatever, and he like grabs their hands and he's like crying. He's a fucking beautiful actor. He's so incredible. Yeah.
Oh,
Go back and watch that episode. He's amazing.
damn, that sounds great. I wish there was more of him. I wish there was more of him interacting with them when they were younger, or even showing us how he lives with Milo, because he chose to stay with Milo for 25 years when he sent off Morbius to go study in New York somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So
At Ballpoint Pen School. Yeah.
that was cool. There's there's a lot to learn about ergonomic pen holding.
Yeah.
So then years go by, like 25 years go by, and they grow to live together, or not live together, but either way they stay in touch.
They like live in New York together.
Yeah.
And around in the same circles. Yeah.
And they are obviously seeing each other. Well, he's seeing Morbius in the news, and he's like, all right, what are you trying to do? And he's like, yo, I went to Costa Rica and I got like a fuckload of vampire bats.
Yeah.
He
showed how bats work, which is you reach your hand out and a billion of them come out and
That's
attack
right.
you. Yeah.
Because they're vampire bats.
That's how bats work.
So he cut his arm and he held it against whatever screen to kind of indicate that there's blood.
Through a like trap thing.
Yeah. And they all just flock to him. And he captures about, 40 of them, takes them back to some kind of vessel.
Can I just say, like, he kind of turns into a bat. He's got bats all around him all the time.
Yeah.
Why don't they just call him Batman?
He's not turning into a bat.
Yeah, no, but why don't they just call him the Batman? Like,
I know, because DC has all these stupid things, and Marvel should have some of this less stupid things.
I don't know. It seems obvious.
Yeah. Yeah. He is a living vampire, okay? And that is way cooler than Batman could be, all right? So I'll allow it.
All right.
But he, of course, he wants to now splice that kind of bat DNA with human DNA and hope to find a cure for this blood disorder that nobody else can figure out, because he's a genius man. All of this is illegal. None of this the government will sanction. He
makes a breakthrough.
Yeah.
He makes a breakthrough with that mouse, and then he realizes he has to do an experimental human trial, which is illegal.
That's illegal, so he does it on himself. All of this he's doing on a fucking ship somewhere.
Typical noble
Okay,
warrior.
all of this is funded by his good friend Milo, who is like, all right, man, good luck with your experiments. Hope you find a cure for both of us, because we're the same. But guess what he does? He takes it, realizes that it's turned him into this bloodthirsty monster who's killed like 6 mercenaries on the ship that he's in. Also hits Bancroft, that sweet lady.
A lot of questions about that scene.
What?
Well, he's on a container ship. He's on a massive ship.
Yeah.
With a lab.
Yes.
And 6 mercenaries who are armed to the teeth.
Yeah.
Who, like, immediately when something goes wrong, they're just like, all right, kill them. Like, kill everyone.
Well, yeah.
But like, how would they know that something wrong is going to happen? Like, in most medical testing, it's like the worst thing that happens is the patient dies. You know, they couldn't ever expect that he would turn into a bloodthirsty. Why are they armed? That's kind of what I'm asking.
Well, they have to dock somewhere, and they can't be docking with like blood and all this stuff. Also, they're mercenaries. What, are they not going to have guns?
Yeah, I know. It's just weird. Like, why would he hire? Yeah, but why? Why? Nobody knows where he is. Who cares?
Well, for pirates, you know, they're in international water, babe.
They're fucking just near Long Island. It's not like they're in Somalia.
They're locked at the shipyards.
This isn't fucking Captain
you
Phillips
don't know.
Morbius.
They don't say where. It just says international waters on a secret mission that is very illegal. Okay, when was the last time you spliced bat DNA with human DNA on land? That's right. Not once.
Let's move along. All right. Captain Morbius is the captain now.
Captain Morbius.
Morbius is the captain now.
Captain Morbius realizes what he's done, right? His thirst vanishes. He comes back to his human form, checks out the CCTV, and is like, oh, this is not good news. This is not good news at all. So he deletes it all and just jumps aboard.
Yeah.
Of course, he calls the hospital somehow. And he's like, yo, come get my girl Bancroft.
He like he frames it up to as something totally
else. Yeah. He's like, we've been taken over by whatever, and
he makes a distress call and then jumps overboard.
There you go.
Yeah.
So now he is kind of on the run a little bit, or at least just missing for now.
Yeah.
And then he realizes, oh, I gotta go check on my girl at the hospital where she's at. What do you call it? The sick people ward. Yeah.
Yeah.
And while he's
Big
there,
sick people building. Yeah.
sick people building.
That's what they call it normally. Yeah. That's what it is in German, but
That's right.
Yeah.
The Morbius.
Bilges sick person
Mortuary.
building. Yeah. Go on.
Somewhere between this altercation, of course, like Milo comes in to check on him at a different lab, at their human ground lab, I'm assuming, and is like, what are all these bats over here? And you're walking, and what's the deal with you being super cured? Where's my cure? And of course, he doesn't share it because he keeps pushing him away, saying that this is not the definition of a cure. Same kind of trope where it's like, it's a curse, la la la.
Yeah.
So he kind of tells him off and goes on to check on Bancroft instead at the hospital. While he's there, a nurse dies or is killed by having her blood sucked entirely out of her body.
Yeah. Vampire style, as they call
Vampire
it.
style.
In the homicide division. Yeah.
There is such a cool scene that leads up to that nurse being chased through the hallway where these like touch lights,
Oh yeah.
motion sensor lights get triggered one by one. It's a classic like horror movie long haul scene, and it like delivers. I feel like the tension was there. You kind of wait for something to happen. Of course it does. She just turns into this pale thing. Right?
Yeah.
She's fully murdered. Morbius thinks he did it.
Just picturing Tyrese Gibson being like, this nurse was fully murdered vampire style.
She died to death. Fucking Tyrese Gibson did 1,000 times better in this movie than all of Fast and Furious combined. Even he was good in this film.
But Fast and Furious is,
I know, but that's the benchmark of success now. So it's like, when you see 16%.
Not after
Morbius,
Fast X.
Excuse me, sir. It's Fast 10.
Okay.
Like, fasten your seatbelts. This is going to be a shit show.
Fasten the seatbelts across you.
Off the cliff.
Yeah.
Morbius, being the good guy that he is, thinks, oh no, I have again entered my bloodlust and killed this poor nurse, so I must turn myself in. And he goes to jail. Turns out it was Milo. Milo came in.
Yeah.
Milo killed her.
Which, as the viewer, you fucking already know. Like, it's so weird. They hide it from you for so long, and then you're like, we know who it is. Like,
because it's a children's film, right?
Okay, whatever.
Wait.
Also, one thing about the jail scene. Did he just have his journal on him?
He's a Nobel-nominated my guy. He can have all the pens he wants from his pen school.
Nobeliot.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's a Morbius.
Yeah.
A bunch of shit happens, and we find out that Milo now has vampire powers.
Yeah, Milo is also a living vampire.
But he's living it like a sexy vampire would.
A living it up vampire,
yeah,
right?
He's doing it the right way.
Yeah,
He's
dancing,
going to parties,
going to the club.
He's got a sick outfit.
Trying to get his DJ'd, yeah.
Oh. Jesus. He's a godly man. No, he definitely getting his DJ'd.
He does. He tries from that lady in the club.
He does.
Yeah.
But he wants her BS'd.
Yeah.
Bloodsucker. Not.
He wants to S or B.
Morbin 2.
After she J's his D.
Okay. That's crass, sir. I will not have it on this pure podcast. He does a good job of being a bad guy.
I guess so.
And that was satisfactory. And that was easily a C+. Okay, so I don't understand this F rating.
Like I said, Matt Smith is like probably the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
You know?
And also, I bet like when he was on Doctor Who with Karen Gillan, who now plays Nebula.
Our favorite Scott.
There you go. She's in Guardians of the Galaxy. She must have been like, yo, come over to the superhero side.
Yeah.
That's where the money's at. And he does and he has a good time.
Yo,
I
Karen
think.
Gillan's got that fucking Jumanji money though too, right?
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
Karen Gillan fucking rules, and I wish
She makes
also she
bank.
did other stuff too, because
Yeah.
she's Scott. And the other thing too, a lovely actress, really good.
Yeah.
Let her speak Scottish.
I
Like, let her
know.
fucking talk in her
Why are they
native
taking it
accent,
away
man.
from
She's
her?
constantly playing an American, and it's so
Bullshit.
annoying, dude.
Yeah, I think it's because she's been typecast as this like, oh, bubbly,
Yeah.
big doe-eyed, that
But,
she
like-
could not be just.
Since Sean Connery, have we had a great Scot? Seriously, and Karen Gillan could be the Sean Connery of our age.
I think I'm an honorary medium Scot at least.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you gotta give me that.
I'm a wee Scot.
You're
yeah.
a wee Scot.
Is Sean Bean Scottish?
Fuck, I don't know.
Who cares?
He's probably dead.
He won't last long.
He won't
Yeah.
last long anywhere. Where was I?
Karen Gillan shows up? No, she doesn't. Matt Smith is being a good
Matt
villain.
Smith being a good villain.
Yeah.
And then all the fucking fight scenes between them from that point on.
The
right?
subway chase
Subway.
thing I thought was good.
Oh my god.
That's
sick.
the only scene I think is actually legit good in this.
So then,
film.
that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no argument for like the animation, the CGI was like, it's fantastic.
It was like it was creative. I like the way that they
Yeah.
like when he like runs up on the wall, the camera like twists and follows. Like I
Yeah.
thought that stuff
That
was
cool dusty effect, right? Like
Yeah.
that kind of fairy, kind
Yeah.
of slow mo, and then him taking into accounts like physics of a bat or whatever they call it. There's echolocation, of course, but then him also leveraging a moving train and then letting the air kind of carry him in front of
Right,
it through
yes.
the tunnels.
Yeah.
Sick. Like all of that fight scene, so good. And when you go in expecting the worst and then you get this, you gotta fucking give it like a C+. You gotta give it. Oh my god, I'm so frustrated that this movie just got terrible ratings when like it was okay.
Yeah.
And that's why I was so salty. Like,
Does
why?
it actually frustrate you?
Because I've seen it 3 times now,
Yeah.
and every time I'm like, yo, why is everybody shitting on this? Because this is just as good as any mediocre film.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The thing that, like, as I've said, like, the thing that baffles me is, like, the movies that people are like, these are amazing and this, like, these are amazing and this is bad. I'm always like, I don't really have as I said, I don't have my horse in the water yet.
Your horse is not in the water
My horse
yet.
my horse isn't even in the ring, boxing. In the boxing horse ring.
All right, that's enough.
In international waters.
Nay
Um,
more. Yeah.
Ouch.
There's some really good, also like cute callbacks or whatever hints at other cinemas in the same universe, right? Like Spider-Man, of course. Morbius at one point like looks at the villain and goes, "I am Venom," and there's like a tiny little menacing smile. Obviously, it's a dig at the Venom,
Yeah.
who's also a Spider-Man villain. And then Matt Smith's dance when like Milo does a little strut. Again, another goofy nod at Spider-Man 3 with Spider-Man doing the goofy dance through the
all right.
streets. Did you not? It's obviously campy, right? It's obviously like, look, I'm also a silly goose villain when I am taken by the dark forces.
Why do you want to kill me? I'm just a goofball.
I'm just a little silly goose.
So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just feel like everybody went in expecting MCU vampire, and they got somewhere between underworld vampire and like cartoon vampire.
yeah, I do think in a different time this movie would have been like acceptable.
100%.
It's a weird time, and
It's a timing thing.
that movie is not the only one that suffered from how weird of
Yeah.
a time it is for blockbuster cinema.
Yeah.
Justly or unjustly. Can we talk about the part where he needs to jack up a new lab?
That's the one.
Yeah, and so can I explain this?
Yeah, go for it.
I think a lot of people don't know that counterfeiters often moonlight as like blood donation clinics as well. So everything that they have in their counterfeiting lab can conveniently be switched around to make like a centrifuge and all that kind
He
of
can
shit.
scoop it out from wherever. He's got mad connections. He'll just get his bats to pick it
Just
up.
the part where he finds that lab and then he flips some stuff around. He's like, oh, this thing spins. I need that. It's just fucking,
He's a Nobel laureate.
dude, go to Amazon, all right? Yeah.
Speak to the other vampire that's running the world.
Goofy, yeah.
Yeah,
So he needs the lab to make more serum to
to find more antibody to essentially
reverse the thing.
That's right.
Because that's what eventually happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now in him finally creating these like vials, this antibody vial, he has this really cool fight scene with Milo in the end where
lots of bats. This is with the Batman thing. This is what I'm saying. You should be
they're
tons of bats everywhere.
Bats. There's a really cool scene where they kind of fly off the top of a building chasing each other to the point that they almost crash into an underground whatever. But like as they come crashing down, they break this billboard or like this neon sign that says motel.
That was good.
And just the M kind of falls apart and it chases him because M for
Morbius.
Morbin time.
And Milo. Yeah.
That's right. Oh, and Milo. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me. It's for me.
This movie is for you.
This movie is for me. And it was cool. And they go to the bottom where he realizes, okay, he's going to need some reinforcements. Morbius is going to need to bring in big bad bats. And that cool scene with like, again, I think they show his ear again, or either way, some like flap of the butterfly's wings or whatever. And he summons 100 bats.
All the way from Costa Rica.
My God.
They flew first class. Yeah.
It was sick. It was very like 90s Justice League like animated series energy. Where did you ever catch?
Yeah, this is where I was kind of talking about the CGI not being great. This did kind of like strike me. It was like kind of video game level-y a little bit.
Yeah,
but that's not whatever. Like I don't care.
It does feel
lots
like
of
that.
purportedly really good like superhero movies are like this CGI. Fuck.
True.
And you know what's another comparison? Black Adam, the 30 seconds I've seen of that movie, which, as you informed me gravely, are like, this is really bad.
That's bad.
That movie, the few bits I saw of it, I was like, this movie is crisp as fuck. Like, it looks amazing. But then you were like,
God.
it's so bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know.
There's unwatchable and then there's entertaining.
Yeah.
And Morbius is guaranteed entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, at no point, unless you're going in with wild expectations of having to see something as compelling as Spider-Man, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know.
You're not going to get it, right? There is a cool kind of finale of like the bats pushing Lucian to the ground, pinning him down for Morbius to kind of come in and stick him with the antidote.
Yeah.
You see that transformation of his face also kind of aging, turning into regular human and then old and then dying.
Right.
And then somewhere
pull back
between this, cool point, Lucian has already killed their dad,
right,
Jared Harris.
Yeah.
Right. He's also bitten and almost killed Bancroft. She's on a roof somewhere trying to be saved by a very weakened Milo, but he's run out of artificial blood. He can't do nothing about it right now, so he has to feast on her. So he drinks all her blood.
Yeah. That's what they want to do all along.
And so he gives in to human blood for the first time, I think now. This is the first time he
except for the massacre on the boat. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So not the first time. Yeah.
I don't remember if he kills all of them. I don't know if if he S's their B.
He S's their B hard, all 6 of them. But they're bad guys, so it's okay.
It's just an SB gang
now
bang.
He S'd on the Bancroft, the other B. He unwittingly leaves a drop of his venom in her bloodstream. So towards the end, you find out that
he puts his B in her B.
Yeah,
BS.
that she wakes up with red eyes.
Yeah.
Very a la Bella from Twilight. So it's fucking sick. Da-dung.
And then it ends. I could respect that. It just fucking cuts
ends.
to Morbius.
More Morbin.
Yeah.
It's clear, linear, no goofy back and forth and no jumping in time, at least during the plot of the film.
Yeah.
Just
do you think that like I don't think this movie will be like reclaimed by culture in any way. Do you think like people will give it another chance because you have passionately defended it?
You know what? I really hope they come back to see it because I know there's been chatter on the interwebs about wanting to see Blade and Morbius together, right? Because in the first Blade film, there's a nod to him. Can you imagine how sick it would be if Mahershala Ali and Jared Leto get like a room scene together? That would be fucking cool. I would love to see that.
It would be interesting to like Morbius turning into going through like a villain arc and then turning good and like a,
He is
like,
he's
you
a
know,
hero. He's an anti-hero.
Here's the thing. You don't need to make a trilogy of Morbius films.
No.
But Jared Leto, who is still a cinema draw, showing up in other like properties, which is hinted at the end when fucking Michael Keaton shows up.
Tombs.
Yeah. Jesus.
He shows up he's propelled into this strange universe that Morbius is in. And then this is basically hinting at the Sinister Six, which is 6 villains of Spider-Man who want to team together. Oh, like, do not roll your eyes like you don't know what I'm talking about. We've discussed this at length.
I've never heard the words Sinister Six together.
No,
those little, like, as you know, the post credits, those little things, I'm just kind of like, oh, fuck all. Like, I don't care.
Hey, they were mid credits.
The thing is, I only watched one because I only thought there was one, and then it turns out there's 2.
Yeah. Well, it's it's the one where he escapes from prison, and then the other one where he meets Morbius.
He escapes from prison. He makes an incredibly funny joke about something.
Yeah, some goof. He's a silly goose.
It's not good.
He's like, hey, I'm the Batman.
He's terrible in Homecoming.
Yeah, he's
Keaton is not good. Yeah.
Also, he's like, isn't he like 80?
I think he's 150 years old.
Okay, so that's
he's a living
good
vampire. He's a living vampire, though.
Yeah.
He has been all the time.
He's doing
That's why they call him Batman.
he's doing a good job.
That's why they cast him as the Batman. Then they were like, oh, he really should be. Who was he in Spider-Man? What was his
His name is Toomes, Adrian Toomes, where he's got this.
But doesn't he have like a
wings?
Iron Man with wings kind of thing?
Yeah, he's got gear from the Avengers. He stole from a crashed plane, or he orchestrated it.
Yeah.
He has it built. He obviously wants to attack Spider-Man, so he's trying to recruit an army. What's interesting to me is that Spider-Man bit by a bug, given permanent powers. Morbius bit by a bat, given temporary powers, which are not great.
Babe,
right?
Look it up. It's science.
So if you want to give him an arc, if you want to give Morbius an arc, maybe give him one of like jealousy or envy or something where like this kid who obviously is smart, science first, wants to do good. So does Morbius, but then he's not able to because of his crutch.
Here's my
power.
Here's my Morbius arc. Morbius's power that he had, it unfortunately led to the death of his best friend, which wrecks him emotionally, and he becomes villainous.
Yeah.
Later, and he teams up with Michael Keaton against Blade and Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
Because Blade is a good guy, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so we have the middle movie is about that.
Yeah.
And then Michael Keaton is killed again. He has to be.
Yeah.
And Morbius escapes. And then in the third movie, he does kind of a Darth Vader and turns back to good. Maybe after he after what's her face Arjona also dies too, and then he realizes that all of the violence that he wrought is like he was like, I was better off as a Nobel laureate.
Yo, Sony, call my guy.
Yeah, so we have Morbius 1, Blade 1.
Yes.
Blade and Spider-Man crossover, which I guess would be like called Web Blade.
They can't have Blade and Spider-Man crossover and then also have a separate
Okay, so
Morbius
Blade
and Spider-Man crossover.
Yeah, no. It's like a super team. So
okay, cool.
Blade is like the main character, Mahersh, and then Spider-Man pops in, Tom Holland pops in at the end of that.
Yeah.
As like a bit of a cameo.
Can we have Andrew Garfield? I feel like that's a better Spider-Man. Because Tommy's
no.
a baby.
Andrew Garfield is retired from acting at this point.
God damn it.
So I've
This is the darkest timeline.
When I write Blade 1, which is already being filmed, but whatever. I'm gonna actually like I'm gonna be like just kind of put it out in the press and just kind of be like, I'm actually looking at Andrew Garfield for the role of Blade. And then when Andrew Garfield comes in to audition, I'm gonna be like, Andrew, we think you should retire. And then he'll be like, all right, and then he'll leave, and then that's it.
You know what I just
And then
realized?
Tom Holland will come in and be like, oh, was it Andrew Garfield?
You are the Sinister Six. This is some Mysterio
but
shit.
Am I not? Is this not fucking the direction they need to go? And then
I'll take it.
Kind of in like the lead up to the Avengers pregame, like the next kind of, like the next end of the cycle, whatever they call it in the
phase,
stupid phase, whatever. They're not the last movie, but they resolve the Morbius story in like a Spider-Man movie where he's like the villain. and Blade is then the cameo in the Spider-Man movie, and Morbius is the villain. And so that's how it should go. They don't need a full trilogy of just Morbius. They can just weave him in,
Because Morbius is not meant to be like a big leading hero guy.
No.
It's like giving Michael Keaton's character a full movie. You don't want to see that.
I mean, they will by the time this is all over. Yeah.
Like like Doc Ock, like Octavius. You don't want to see him have a full movie, just him leading the charge as villains.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of this failure for Morbius, in my Cole's notes, is that it comes from being pushed as a Spider-Man villain film, because there's no fucking Spider-Man, and it's not really MCU. It's terrible timing. It's like released years later without context to any Spider-Man film.
Yeah.
There is no callback or any relation with this character with anyone else in the universe.
Also in the midst of Morbius, the journey of Morbius, between when it was meant to be released and then delayed like 4 times.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Far From Home comes out and everyone jizzes their pants over it. Sorry, excuse me, jays their peas over Far From Home.
Yes.
And like it and I don't know if Far From Home came out before Morbius? 2021?
Before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can see how this movie might leave a bitter taste in someone's mouth when they're like,
yeah.
If you're into that Spider-Man
and
shit.
Confusing fucking mid-credit scene, right? Like, why is Toomes here? Why is he wanting to team up with this guy?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make
context,
any sense. Yeah.
No sense, right? So there are some things that absolutely bury this.
Hold on. Blade 1.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's like get it down. Blade 1.
Yeah.
Interior. Sewer. Night.
Yeah.
Close up. An eye. We pull back slow. Michael Keaton just has a knife directly through his face, and Blade is like, "That's enough of you," and then that's it. Nice. So we don't have to worry about the Michael Keaton. So Toomes is just dead completely. Although I think my original pitch was better. That if they're gonna have Michael Keaton, you might as well team up with Morbius and fight Blade and Spider-Man and blah blah blah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Who's a superhero aficionado now?
Yeah, Disney, call me. I'm available.
Sony. You gotta go through the middleman. Ay.
No, but the Blade movie is under Disney's purview, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't care, actually. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't give a shit.
Let's nip
Sony, Disney, I'll work for either of you. No, just fuck it.
My final note on this cinematic wonderment that I have partaken in twice is that there is a far, and it's not fair to say because a lot of movies could be better if they were edited better, blah, blah, but there is a far superior, tighter film that's hidden in like a fucking Snyder cut version somewhere.
Yeah.
This could be a Kingdom of Heaven situation where you have, if you give it the building ground of plot, of intrigue, of chemistry, of characters, you can have a 2-hour film that's a little bit longer, but just deserving of not fucking 16%.
I thought it was in this 120-page script that you handed me and said that we were going to perform on this podcast.
The next episode. You can't give it away.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do a bonus where we do a reading of Pre's rewrite of Morbius.
Where I start with, Morb me up.
Starring Andrew Garfield.
Morb me up inside. Yeah, starring Andrew Garfield. Hell yeah.
I'm a vampire now. Oh, no.
What? What is that accent?
Andrew Garfield. Everyone tells me my Garfield is fucking perfect.
Is he Aussie?
No, he's English. Andrew Garfield's British.
Yeah, but what did you
That's
do
why he
there?
sounds like this.
Oh, that's so nice.
And this is Tom Holland.
Yeah, that is Tom Holland, though. That's uncanny. Fuck. Morbius, man. Listen, all you Morbophobes out there, give it another chance.
Yeah, be a Morbophile.
There you go. Okay? Learn to love.
The
love
M.
is Morb.
Yeah. J or D over the M.
Because J and P done covered it all.
Oof.
Hey, it's been the low ceiling, guys.
This has been the low ceiling. Bringing you Hot Films Express. This would be the newest film we did, except we decided to do B is A.
Yeah, B is A coming out, already been out.
I guess maybe we could do something a little more professional. We do have an Instagram if people want to follow it. It's not interesting. Better yet, just go and delete your Instagram account. But we do have an Instagram if you want to follow it. It's at The Low Ceiling. That's all it is. We just post when we have an episode out.
That's it.
Which is every Friday, so you don't really need to follow it for any reason whatsoever. Fucking throw us a like. Don't be so cheap. Anyway.
The Low Ceiling.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Fucking Morbius.
Fucking Morbius.
You know what? Before we go, sounds like we're wrapping up. I have another 40 minutes in me. No, I'm just kidding. It is interesting because I subjected you to something like Gone in 60 Seconds, which is arguably the similar quality of film. You know,
I agree. Because
And
people will sit through 60 seconds, but not through Morbius.
yeah, and I have been in the position of having to defend a movie that most people dislike as well. So I like, hearing your side of
Passionate
things
take.
for once in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Next episode is just going to be me, pre, The Low Ceiling.
P&P.
P&P.
The LC. Thanks for listening. Bye.